7 tell me how much of a whole friend is. She'd rather ride solo, cause she can't stand bitches. And I remember why I left 7 alone. She bad as hell, but her heart is cold. She kept her entertained when my nigga did his wrong. 30 minutes later, in the scraper, and we gone. Now I'm counting my money, smoking my weed, counting my money, bumping J6.
Hi, you think you know somebody? Hi, thanks so much for coming. Do I know you? Just so I know, like, you know, because I don't know people's names necessarily. But thank you so much for being here. And so just so I know, like, if I know you, then I just want to make sure I'm really properly saying hello, but if not, then that's fine too. But thank you so much for being here. I just want to put a bit about the topic that we're going to be doing today, which is a Q&A about an old fling. So we're going to get started in just one more minute or so. And while we do that, I'm just going to try to pin a comment. But thank you so much for being here today. Yeah. Actually, this is kind of long, so I won't. How about I read the question, and I might read it one more time as more people come in, or we'll see who comes in. And if you have any questions along the way, feel free to, post in the comments and that good stuff. All right, so the question is, an old fling recently moved back into my area. And let me put my thing on D&D for a second, just so it doesn't ring in the middle. An old fling recently moved back into my area, and ever since I've been consumed by thoughts of them. My mind races through endless possibilities. Will we cross paths unexpectedly? Will they reach out? What happens if they do? The constant fixation is honestly tiring, and it worries me how much mental space this person occupies in my day-to-day life. How do I stop obsessing over these unknowns or the idea of reconnecting? So this is a real question from a real meditator, someone who does inquiry meditation with me. And if you are interested, then you can try out inquiry meditation. If you go to thegospelofpleasure.com, that's my website, thegospelofpleasure.com, you can do a free consultation, and I actually do a bit of the practice with you, so you can actually try it out. In the meantime, though, to answer this question, so the orientation of inquiry meditation is to, I call it, we could go on this ride, I call it the 99.99% ride of racing through the possibilities. Will we cross paths? Will they reach out? What happens, right? So how do you stop obsessing? The first thing we would do, and hi, A Real Tattoo. Thank you for being here. And we are looking at the question of how do you stop obsessing over somebody. And the first thing we do is we look at, and I don't know if I know you, A Real Tattoo, so if I do, then just throw your name in so I know who I'm actually saying hi to. Otherwise, I'm happy if you're brand new, I'm happy if I don't know you, and I'm happy if I do know you. I just want to be able to say hey if I do know you. But the first thing we need to do is, oh, hi, Hannah. Hey, from AYWY. Yeah, okay. So if you are obsessing, the first thing to do is to be with the fact that you are speaking of obsessions, yes, your most obsessive student, one of the fiercest and brilliant. The first thing to do is to be with, instead of trying, how do I stop this obsessing, right? First thing you do is notice, oh, I'm obsessing, right? And here's what we kind of don't do that actually will help. is we won't say, I am suffering. Instead of trying to stop obsessing, first notice, in this obsessing, I am suffering. It's first to just notice that you are suffering. It's what I call suffering. Other people may call it something else, but it's what I call suffering, meaning you're in pain, right? Now, it might be a little bit pleasure in the pain of, like this person says, and we're doing the Q&A question that it's just too long for me to post, but a recent fling recently moved back to this meditator's area, and she has been consumed with thoughts, will we cross paths unexpectedly? Will they reach out? And she says the constant fixation is honestly tiring, right? So there's a little bit of pleasure in there though, right? Which is my mind, will we cross paths? There's the kind of, the push and pull of that, right? Will they reach out? There are little traces of pleasure. So you notice how there's like pleasure mixed into this pain at the same time. And that pleasure mixed with pain is still suffering. So if we will start first, because what I call the 99.99% kind of phenomenon is that we just go on the rise. We're going to call 10 different friends, talk about, what should I do? Like, should I reach out to him? Should I say something? Should I friend so-and-so on Facebook? Should I just let him, like, what happens if, on and on and on, right? And 10 different people are going to give you 10 different answers. Or even just you by yourself, your mind racing like that is going on that ride. How do you get off the ride? First, notice, I'm on the ride. I'm on a ride, right? First, notice that, right? Here's the thing. Part of why we go on that ride is so that we don't have to feel the pain. We don't have to feel our suffering of, I don't know what will happen. Also, we don't have to feel the pain of what this person brings up for us, right? And immediately the first thing we may think of is, I love him, her, them so much, or maybe not even love, but oh my God, it was just something about him, her, them. It was just something about him, her, them, right? And it makes your mind loop and loop and loop again about little moments with them, or this time that they looked at you, or you looked at them, or, they said that thing and it just made you laugh, whatever, on and on and on, right? If we will first notice, though, that we are suffering, and then as we know, we'll notice that we're breathing as we're suffering, right? And that's why the ride is so tempting, because we think if we'll be with the pain of noticing that we are suffering, then that's going to hurt too much. So that's why we go on the ride a lot of times, because there is that little bit of pleasure, and it seems like suffering is just blah. Who the fuck wants to be with suffering? How boring is that, right? Only if we will bring like interest to this suffering and curiosity, right? Well, Leslie, I'm in 100% fucking misery. I can't bring that to it. Okay, I hear that. So again, just coming back to noticing your breathing. And now, here's where we can begin to get curious. If you will say, where do I feel this suffering, this fixation happening in my body? Because the thing is, fixation doesn't happen up here, right? The ride of doing all this stuff, that happens up here. But the suffering that you're actually trying to get away from is in the body, right? And again, that's why we go on the ride, to get away from the body. So let's just do it first, and then we'll talk about why it helps to go into the body, even though it's like, no, it's gonna hurt. I don't wanna. It's gonna be yucky. I want to go on the roller coaster instead, right? So we'll say first, where is this happening in my body? You may notice, and think about for you right now, like as you think about obsessing over, it could be obsessing over a job, it could be obsessing over, like anything really. Notice where you feel that happening in your body. And next time this happens, you can, do this, right? Notice where it's happening, because it's always happening somewhere in the body. right? Might be in your chest, in your belly, in your throat, in your head, back of your neck, anywhere in the body, your hands. And there, just notice it, right? Just notice it. Oh, say, oh, that's something different you've never done before. You've never just paused to say, well, where is it? It's almost like when someone stops you when you're like crying, you're sobbing, and they're like, how do you know you're crying? And you're like, huh? The fuck? Like, it kind of just, for a second, you're kind of like, what? Because I'm fucking crying, you fucking idiot, right? It just kind of like snaps you a little bit to have to notice, where is it happening? Where is it happening? Okay, it's happening in my chest, let's say. And Hannah, or you think you know somebody, if y'all want to ask any questions as I go along, then feel free to ask, right? But let's say it's happening in the chest, right? And then, okay, and now let's say, well, what does it look like, or what does it feel like, right? What does it look like or feel like? Okay, you kind of have to like take a step back to notice, what does it look like or feel like? The way I imagine it, it's like a splatter of like this gooey, dark paint or something like that. Like this gooey, kind of sticky substance that's like splattered across my chest, kind of like that. That's what I imagine. But it will probably look different on or for you, right? So as you notice that, because this is kind of an interactive thing, so just let me know that you're with me, or that you can kind of feel a little something as I talk about this, or that even if you're not feeling it in your body, you can participate at your own rate. But just let me know that you're like, okay, I'm with you. Hi, Earl. Oh my gosh. High school. What's up? Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Okay. And okay, Hannah, you're feeling it in your shoulder. So Earl, just to catch you up on what we're doing, we're answering the question that I put in my, that, was on Facebook, about someone saying, how do you stop obsessing over somebody? And this person, their old fling is moving back to the area, and they're finding they're obsessing about it. And so what we're doing is we're feeling, where is that obsession happening in the body? And, so yes, it's in your shoulders, Hannah, okay? And so here's what we typically don't do with our pain. Here's kind of like the shock thing that we don't do with our pain. And it's only because we're not taught to do this, right? What I want you to do, Hannah, is I want you to say hi to that pain in your shoulders, right? And typically when I say that, people always bust up laughing. They'll be crying and crying buckets and everything. But it's kind of like, a bit of a shock, right? But we just say hi. So you say hi. I would say hi to that feeling of black splatter in my chest area, right? That is where I'm feeling the obsession, if I'm feeling the obsession, right? And then what we do, though, we don't just say hi, though. What you do is you listen, and you see where you can tell that the obsession heard you. So however that obsession is manifesting in your shoulders, Hannah, and for me, if it's like that kind of gooey, dark substance in my chest, I'm going to listen after I say hi to it. I'm going to listen. I'm going to see if I can tell that gooey substance heard me. Right? So I'm looking to see, did it hear me? Yeah. And if you listen, it's always you'll notice something. That's why I call this process inquiry meditation, because it's the listening for that the thing happens. And this is where, if the person is like sobbing and stuff, this is kind of like where it has to stop a little bit, because they really have to actually stop and notice, did it hear me? Yes, it heard you, right? And there is the beginning of the shift that is possible. Now we have a relationship. We're building a relationship with our actual suffering, with the actual pain, with the actual obsession. So keep noticing your breathing. Just noticing your breathing. You don't have to change anything about your breathing. Your breathing keeps you anchored so that you can kind of remain present while you look at your pain. Maybe even for the first time, you're really actually looking at it. All your pain wants with you is a relationship. Your pain keeps coming back. It seems like it's about this other person. You'll swear up and down it's about, him, her, them. You'll swear up and down, it's about him, her, them. But as you build a relationship with the obsession in this case, whatever the suffering is, whatever the pain is, right? Now you can kind of like feel the pain. The pain is glad you're paying some attention to it, right? This is all it's ever wanted is your attention. And this is one of those things where it won't make sense to you because it's a body thing. The body doesn't give a fuck about you making sense or saying something really, really smart or whatever. All the body cares about is relationship with you. And it is the very last thing we think to do is to have relationship, direct relationship with the thing. And this is why inquiry meditation works from session 1, is because we immediately get to relating with the pain directly. So we've just said hi. We've listened to see if the obsession itself hurt us, right? Right. So we're still noticing that we're breathing, right? And as we notice, we're just looking now, just looking at the obsession. And here's where we might say, do you mind, obsession, if I sit with you? And this is where some people are like, this is weird. This is really fucking weird, Leslie. I don't want to, how do I do it? But it's very easy to do once you start. It's like, well, I feel like a crazy person talking to myself like this. And I'm like, well, you've tried the other shit. You may as well try this just for a few minutes, right? Try it. See what happens for a few minutes, right? So now ask the obsession. Ask whatever pain you may be working with. Can I sit with you? And the obsession will either be like, yes or no, or maybe I'm thinking about it. It doesn't really matter what the answer is. The point is that you are finally engaging with it, right? So just see what the obsession says, or see what your pain says, and if you want to share in the comments, then feel free. I'm not sure who is still here, but if you want to share what your pain said, then feel free. And if not, because you're in it, then feel free not to share as well. And if you need any direction or redirection, let me know. But this is an interactive one today, right? So I feel like mine said yes, right? Yes, I could sit with it, right? And now you're sitting. We go really slowly. We go really slowly with this pain. Hannah said it's like one of those Western movie standoffs. Yes, say, this is what you say to it, Hannah. Say, oh, I see that this feels kind of like a Western movie standoff where you're over here and I'm over there, or you're over there and I'm over here, right? And we're just staring at each other. Say that to it. We just observe to it what it is doing. So say, oh, I notice you are doing this thing. And then just confirm. Say, is that right? Again, we're not just talking to it or talking at it. We're seeing what it has to say back to us. And so, and then once you hear back from it, Hannah, you could say to it, that's completely fine. It's completely fine. You have every reason to kind of do this standoff thing that you're doing. Yeah. Say it's completely fine, sweetheart. You don't have to do anything. Choose, and ad lib what's natural for your body. Just say that. Whatever feels natural for your body, just say that. Noticing that you're breathing the entire time. Just noticing you're breathing. We don't want to do anything. This is really, we're just being interested. We're not trying to make it sit with us, right? All we're doing is just being interested in it. We're just being interested in whatever it's doing, right? Almost like we're fascinated with a child that we like a lot, when they're drawing a picture, they're 3 years old, they're drawing a picture, we're like, ooh, look at that. We don't care what they drew. We like the kid, right? So whatever they drew, whatever they're doing, it's like it's cool, right? Right? Think of it also like we're dealing with a frightened puppy. Would you be like, can I sit with you if it doesn't want to? You would be like, I'll take some steps back. You do you, we let it kind of calm down and get used to us being there. We don't want anything from a frightened puppy except to make it feel better, right? That's how we're treating this obsession. That's how we're treating this obsession. And Hannah, if you notice anything different, feel free to pop that in the chat, if and when you feel like it. If you feel like it, yeah. And so, still just noticing your breathing, whatever it is the obsession is doing, right? If it's letting you sit with it, and you can just say, I notice whatever it's doing, just notice that to it without any force though. See, here's the thing. We don't have an outcome in mind for this. Real relationship doesn't have an outcome in mind, right? We're not talking with it with the intent of it becoming something or doing something for us. We're talking to it because we want genuine relationship with it. You see how you can't have relationship and an agenda at the same time? This might be the first time you're talking with it or engaging with it or looking at it without the intention for it to go away, without your agenda of it going away. Just noticing your breathing, and then noticing now what it's doing. Just noticing now what it's doing. Do you see how in being directly with this obsession in this way, and I'm going to read what you said in just a second. Do you see how when we're in direct relationship now in this way, we're not so much about the object of the obsession, the fling who moved back to town, right? The person we're obsessing about, or that it appears we're obsessing about, right? So Hannah says, breathing takes so much conscious effort. Obsession says she's this nebulous, complex being who wants to run the show. She's a force. I'll give her that. Okay. Yes, breathing does take so much conscious effort. Let's take a step back though, Hannah. How does it take effort to notice that it's happening? Does it take effort to notice that you're breathing? And that's a real question. That's not like I'm not being a dick. I'm really asking, like, does it take effort for you to notice that you're breathing? Because if you really look at it as does it take effort for me to notice, then you'll notice breathing might hurt right now as you actually, are being with the thing that you've been avoiding all this time. But does it take effort to notice, my breathing is kind of jerky right now, or it's kind of fucked up right now, right? That's the first point. To your second point, obsession says she's this nebulous, complex being who wants to run the show. So say to her, oh, I heard you say that you're a nebulous, complex being who wants to run the show. And then say to her, is that what you said? Confirm that that's what she said. And then you could say to her, you are a force. I'll give you that. Say that to her, right? Notice how we're saying these things we're engaging with the obsession. And if and when obsession confirms that she's this nebulous, complex being who wants to run the show, say, of course you're a nebulous, complex being who wants to run the show. Say to her, you have needed to run the show. Yeah. Say to her this, I have needed you to run this show. You have run this show on my behalf. Because there's a reason why. There's always a very good reason. I'll put it like this. There is never not a good reason why a part like this is running the show. Why obsession is running the show. So just notice your breathing. You don't have to do anything about your breathing. Just notice it's happening as you engage in this. Do you notice how it's a very friendly engagement? Notice how it's a friendly engagement. And notice how we're not trying to change the obsession at all. We're actually kind of admiring obsession. When you say to her, she's a force. Yeah, you're right. You are a force. Yeah. And if you feel like genuine, like, I fucking hate that you're here, take a step back and say, in a polite way, just be polite and say, I'm not used to being with you in this way. I'm not accustomed to it. And honestly, I feel kind of awkward talking with you. Do you see how we're being honest with the thing? Because obsession already knows how you feel about him, her, it, them. Obsession already knows. However it's manifesting. For some people it's going to be, non-binary. It may be feminine, maybe masculine, whatever. But the thing already knows how you feel about it. It knows if you're like feeling a lot of hostility towards it, right? So if you go ahead and say, yes, I am feeling hostility towards you, and I'm still willing to talk with you. When we say what the body already knows to the body, when we say to the body what the body already knows that we are thinking or feeling about it, or some part of it, that builds relationship. And that's how you honestly heal, is by building a relationship with your pain. Still noticing your breathing. If you're here, just still noticing your breathing. And now at this point, we'll just say to the obsession, thank you. Thank you for letting me be here with you in this way. Thank you for letting me see you like this. You can even say to it the truth. It was not what I was expecting. I'm a bit surprised right now. Whatever feels genuinely true, but we can say that in a kind way still, right? Say, thank you for letting me see you in this way, right? And at this point, we're just doing this for a few minutes. Feel free to go back to obsessing. Feel free to go back to just being a maniac in your head. But what you will notice is that it's going to have a little bit less density to it, just a tiny bit, because any little bit of seeing makes a huge difference. Any little bit of seeing makes a huge difference. And like I was saying, if you want a one-on-one consultation, I do them. If you go to my website, thegospelofpleasure.com, you'll see where I do 15-minute consults, and my consults are actual experiences of this work. And so if you want to try that one-on-one, but this is actually what I do in consults. This is what I'm doing with you now is actually what I do. Actually, what I'm doing right now is a little bit more, but because you showed up, then here we go. You're welcome. If it worked for you. If you feel thankful, I don't know. But yeah, so still noticing your breathing, letting yourself, and just observing now, how does that feel in your shoulders, Hannah? How does that feel in, Hannah says thank you. You're welcome. Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah. How do notice now? How do your shoulders feel? How does the obsession feel in your shoulders? And if it were me, I'd be asking, how does this feel in my chest? Do you notice? For me, it would be, is that thick, kind of gooey, kind of splatter? Is it a little less dense now, or has it shifted at all? And what I can feel in kind of seeing it more is that it's kind of just more dispersed through the body. It's a little bit more where it was kind of like not budgy. Now it's just a bit more move, a little bit more free flowing through the body. But we don't know what the body is going to do. We have no idea, and that's why I love this work, because I never know what's going to happen in it. So Hannah, it looks like for now it's just you and me. So if you feel like it, I'm happy to have you come on if you want to talk live. And I'm also happy if you're at work and whatever, or you just don't feel like it. I'm happy to keep corresponding this way. Whichever works for you. I'm assuming it's you who's still on with me. But if you want to share anything that you noticed or observed, then feel free. And also, if you don't, then that is fine as well. But this is kind of like, this is the work that I am up to. And the thing is, it fucking works. It actually really, really works. And it's a gentle way to really be with what's there. And in our being with it in this way, this is how it dissolves. This is how it, the pain begins to dissolve. And it becomes something really joyous. So, yeah. So I think that I will stop there. It looks like, oh wait, if someone's still here, did anybody have questions, or are there any questions I can answer before we get ready to go? Or is there a situation, oh, so you think you know somebody is who is here. I like the process of addressing the physical manifestation of the pain. Yeah, very cool, very cool. It is when it's kind of a way to establish relationship, when we address the physical manifestation of the pain, then we are building relationship with ourselves. We're building relationship with the body and with the aspect, whatever part of ourselves is hurting. And do you see how when we address the physical manifestation, that takes us out of our minds and into the body? Takes us into the body. You think you know somebody? Did you have any questions I can answer, or any like quick scenarios that's kind of like, well, how would this apply to this situation or that situation? And completely fine if you do not, but I just want to ask. I'm happy to do that if you would like before we go. No questions. Awesome. Yes, you can apply this to many aspects of life. Awesome. Yes, you definitely can apply this to every aspect of life. Any kind of pain that you're in, you can apply it. And if ever you want to go deeper, then I actually have a lot of resources. I write a lot about this on my Substack, which is at The Gospel of Pleasure. And of course, you can check out my Instagram posts, so forth and so on. So thank you so much for being here, and maybe you'll come back. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.